Palestine. So rich in both Islamic and Christian history, Palestine was definitely one of my most memorable experiences. The Al-Aqsa compound has been prayed on and walked by all the prophets of Islam. It's blessed grounds and you feel it the moment you set foot in Palestine. We welcome Nur Jahan and her husband Zishan to the studio. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
It's such a pleasure to have you both in studio. When Nur Jahan came through last time, she spoke about a Hajj and she said, my husband should have been here because he would have said all the stories. So we're glad, Mr. Nur Jahan, to have you in studio with us today. It's such a pleasure to have you here. And she did say you're going to do justice to the storytelling.
Inshallah.
But let's get started first and foremost. And you're not the first person to say that. When you actually set foot there, you feel the energy. When we had Zakia Khatib here previously, and she spoke also about when she visited, she said the moment you have that feeling when you enter Medina Sharif. People say the moment you enter that hotel, it has a distinct smell, it has a distinct feel and energy in the skies. Same with Makkatul Mukarramah. Now, what is that feeling like when you enter? Describe that for us. What is the atmosphere, the ambience like when you first get there? What do you hear? What do you see first?
You know, I always say that Makkah is such a vibe. That's how I describe it. And I say that Medina is just peaceful.
True.
Well, I specifically feel just at ease and at peace. And Palestine, well, when you enter the Aqsa compound, I don't have a word yet, but it's like a longing, like you don't want to leave it. And I must explain to you that just before you can enter the compound itself, there's Israeli soldiers basically, I'm not harassing you, but they stand there, you know, and that's that
so like
barrier.
You get off the bus.
Right.
So let's rewind a bit. When do you first encounter them?
So when you encounter them when you get to the border crossing, that's the initial, depending which route you take. So we took the Jordan.
The Jordan route. We were in Amman for 2 nights.
Okay.
And then we traveled via bus with a group of around 50 of us. Very diverse group, around ages from like 20 right up to 70 plus. So we traveled to the border. When you get to the border, something that's a little bit different than the other countries is when you get to the Israeli border, they do not allow you to touch your bags. You have to allow them to take the bags off the bus, and you will only see it after immigration.
Wow.
So, you know, you hear the people talking about being held at immigration for 2 hours, 5 hours, 7 hours, some more than 10 hours. You know, alhamdulillah, for us, the group of 50, we only waited a maximum of 3 hours.
Only 3 hours.
It was only 3 hours. And
but we say that like that because, yes, it was a long 3 hours. Oh, actually, it wasn't. We had an amazing group, right? So it wasn't. But when I actually got into Aqsa and I was reading Isha, I sat next to a girl from the UK and we just hit it off and started talking, and they waited 9 hours.
Wow.
So us only 3 hours.
What do you do when you're waiting?
You just have to sit and
So look, for people who have not been to Palestine and want to go, inshallah, the first thing that we need to understand is that every single thing that these Israelis do is to deter the Muslims. And the moment we actually accept that and we do not go and we come back and we start, propagating this to everyone else, that, you know, the fear and this is what happened to me. And then that is when Al-Aqsa will, you know, we might lose Al-Aqsa, because as it is, we are saddened enough to see that there's only 1 or 2 safs in the masjid, but we do not, as Muslims, understand the actual, importance of Masjid Al-Aqsa. And being the third haram, it is, on the same level of Makkah and Medina. And I'll tell you something. My mother-in-law asked me two days after we got back. She said to me, you know, how does it feel to be back in South Africa? And she was expecting an answer like, you know, like of a sigh of relief and like I'm safe and whatever. And I said to her, no, I'm actually on my phone looking to go back to Palestine.
Missing it. Oh,
and
wow.
It really grabs your heart. So we experienced the immigration. They question you. Look, we never had any heavy interrogation. They do ask you 10, 15 questions, but they ask you at a kiosk It wasn't taking us into a room. I'm not sure if anyone has experienced that.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like the media, the
Hypes it up.
Western, yes, hypes it up a lot. And they make the soldiers, the Israeli soldiers, look like these monsters that are like, big in size and stuff. And I promise you, when you get there, they're like kids.
No,
but they
literally are kids. They are teenagers, maybe 19, 20-year-olds with rifles.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that guard Al-Aqsa, So it's not, people make it out to be that it's like such a scary and fearful, and our family back home was so afraid for us, and getting my friends constantly, are you guys okay? Are you safe? Where are you now? And I too, I was nervous because of all of this hype. Enjoyed the night before we left. I was completely finished. I couldn't get a hold of my mom, so I couldn't speak to the kids, and then I just started crying like continuously nonstop.
Your farewell messages.
Right? Literally. And then I phoned my brothers and I was like, listen, I need to speak to my kids. And I think it was 11 p.m. here. And then my younger brother, Ahmed, he went to my parents' house and I was like, please speak to her. She thinks she's going to die, and please let her see her children. He walked into the room and he's like, did something happen? Like, why do you look like this? But it's that fear that everybody else puts in you. And when we got to Palestine, it's nothing like that. You look at, Allah gives you this strength.
Right.
Or courage, or brings the reality of that situation to life, where you can't give Israelis or these settler soldiers this power. And I even said it on my social media. You just can't. And you get that strength and that conviction that even when they turn you away, when you're trying to enter the Aqsa compound, it's not them. That's Allah testing you. Are you going to knock on another door? Are you going to give up? What are you going to do?
Let's talk about that, because that happened with on your social media. I did see. How and why did that happen, that you were not allowed inside to read Salah? Tell us about that. What happened there?
So it's basically, there's no set time that they don't allow you in. It's just any time.
It's just their
that they feel.
Into the compound itself, or where?
So when you get into before you enter the compound, you have the big gates, like your Damascus gate and so on. There's about 8 gates. Those gates, you pretty much, it's easy to enter. There was an instance where I was stopped and searched and things like that, but nothing hectic. They do it, obviously, they tell you to give you their passport, and obviously South Africa holistically, being on the side of Palestine, they do not like the South Africans very much. So you're always nervous when you take out your passport and saying that you're from South Africa.
I think it's a South Africa thing,
It is.
Yeah.
So the moment they hear South Africa, they're like, go back home. Yeah. So then it was a game for our group, because eventually we were like, no, we're from Phoenix, we're from Mount Edgecombe. And they're like, where? And we're like, Mount Edgecombe, where?
We were just making up names as we were going along.
If we got denied access, then another group that was walking past would say, like, don't say South Africa this time, say Musgrave. And then someone would say Musgrave and they'd enter. So
they don't check the passports?
But even if when they did,
don't even know.
I don't even think they know how to read.
Someone else.
So even if they did, they didn't.
Someone else actually from South Africa gave their passports, and there's the South Africa in Afrikaans, which says South Africa.
Right.
And the guy looked at it and he said, "Oh, you're from the Netherlands?" And he said, "Yes." So they actually don't know.
What?
They just
like I said, their kids themselves were just instructed, don't let South Africans in, or hate Muslims, or whatever.
They
it's
want
that
reaction. Yeah.
And they want to trigger you and irritate you, but none of us gave them that power. So if we were denied, our group would meet up in a little corner and be like, okay, so you can't say Mount Edgecombe, they know now. You can't say Musgrave. I promise you, Salwa, it was probably one of the best trips of my life, because we had an incredible group, and all of that fear that people had put in, or even maybe the media that had put in us, prior to this was gone, because we realized, you just want to get into it. So obviously Masjid al-Aqsa and the Dome of Rock is within the compound.
Right.
These settler soldiers guard the 8 gates surrounding the compound.
Okay.
And you just basically need access into one of those gates. Once you're in. So it's that hostility at the gate. And the moment you get in, it is a feeling like I cannot describe to you. My mother-in-law and I we'd actually say, we need to keep our wudu, because we're going to sit from Zohar to Isha. We're not going to go out again. And we'd just find a spot, even under a tree, and just sit and read Quran, or read our surahs, or talk.
Just to be there.
Just to be there. And you don't want to leave. It's a feeling that I can't explain.
I'm trying to imagine. We've grown up talking about Palestine, and seeing those pictures of the people. Often got confused about which is Dome of the Rock and which is Masjid al-Aqsa. Always, because you see the gold dome, and your children associate that with Palestine.
Yes.
What was that? Seeing that for the first time, like
that was actually my first look.
To walk up and you see through those arches, right?
And I didn't even know that it was that close or that big in front of you. That when we went through the gates, we were more focused on the soldiers and getting past and looking down, because they say don't make eye contact and with the soldiers because that's when they want to start a conversation and then ask you where you're from. So we're just looking down and naturally looking down, and I walked through, and when I pick my head up, the first thing I see is this massive gold bright dome.
Wow.
And it was at Maghrib time, so it was the sun was just setting, and we had this amazing a view of the dome. It it's like when you're going to Makkah and you pick your head up and you see the Kaaba, and it was amazing. And every single step that we took to get to Palestine, the waiting at immigration, the bus to get there, you stop at checkpoints when you're in the bus. I think we stopped at around maybe 2 or 3 checkpoints before you get there. And when you stop at a checkpoint, the soldiers, they jump onto the bus and they make it like, such a big drama.
They try
with
to
the
scare you, and just make it difficult. But we were not fearful at all. We were just like, oh, we're tired now. Can we get to our hotel?
Yes. And we got through all of that, and it was not as bad as we thought it was going to be.
Alhamdulillah.
And
did you get to actually how long were you all there for?
6 days, 5 nights.
Wow, that's quite a long time. So did you all step out? If I'm looking at the time already, but I want to talk about were there any sort of awareness of what was going on around you, like what's currently going on in the Gaza Strip, what's going on? Did you all hear anything, see anything? Is there any time where maybe it gave you all a shock or a jolt or something? Did you all attempt to tour anywhere outside of that?
So we did tour quite a bit, but in terms of knowing what is happening, like I said to you, everybody was so fearful for us. And I wondered why were they just messaging, and my friends and my family, are you guys okay? They had blocked Z's TikTok, so he had no social media.
So when you travel to different parts of the world, your location brings up the news in that area or whatever. So I was totally blocked off my social media.
All social media.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we traveled to the West Bank. We went to Bethlehem. We went to Masjid Ibrahim, Jericho. We went to a few cities, and we visited a lot of the Sahaba and stuff within the area. But what we need to say to the Muslim community is that, especially those that are young couples, the young boys, go to Palestine, visit Palestine, because what's happening is that the only way the Israelis can take over is that they are killing their economy for the Muslims. And if we do not go to support them, they don't even want anything from us. My brother and I actually met people, that live within the compound, and they have absolute hearts of gold. We coming from South Africa, so we're very wary about who we talk to, what we're doing, whose house we're going into. They will invite you in, and you would think that they would want charity or they would want some sort of money or whatever. They don't want that. They want to offer you a cup of tea. They want you to stand next to them in Salah, and they just want to see that their Muslims are coming in. They feel so bad. Imagine they feel so bad that we get turned away, and they ask us for maaf. It was like ridiculous. Like you like, how can you even comprehend that? But we have to go. We have to support.
Like we went with the intention of supporting Palestine and obviously getting into Al-Aqsa and praying there and things like that. But the community, the Palestinian community,
supported you all.
They literally, they I must tell you this, and I want the listeners of Al Ansar to know this.
Yes, leave them with something.
We are, when it comes to like our livelihood, we put so much of effort into our jobs and our livelihoods. So we went there with the intention of supporting them. There's an incredible falafel stand on the way into the compound, and I ate from there every day. But this man has a sign beside his shop that says, and not even a shop, a little stand.
Yes, like a small stand.
And he says that if you cannot afford the falafel, take it for free and just send durood upon my Nabi.
I've seen that. People put pictures up of that.
And we were like, no, you don't even have money. You want to give us falafel for free. But we tried it. Like one of the South African guys were like, I'll take 2 falafels and a can of Coke. And he said, I don't have money.
And if you ever want to just
he said, no, take it. But just send 200 durood on my Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And we were like, wow, that's their mentality.
And the power of charity, you just see he gives like 10 falafel for free. There's like 20 people standing and paying.
It's ready to pay him that money. Oh, subhanallah.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
What a pleasure. And once again, like the last time, I wish we had more time to talk about this. You definitely needs more time to go into. And I think it's so necessary, perhaps to have maybe in an upcoming show, we could do something where the agents are able to also give you the logistics of what to carry along with you and so forth. But thank you so much for taking the time out to actually share your experience with us. I'm sure it has touched the heart of someone or the other that was considering or had that thought at the back of their mind, whether to make that intention or not. And inshallah, may all your ibadah be accepted, whatever your presence there was like. Thank you once again for spending the time with us again, sharing your beautiful stories. We'll look forward to your next adventure. Then you join us again, inshallah. First it was Hajj. It was meant for me to be here for Hajj. Yes. Now I'm here for Palestine. So the next time Zahir goes away, I don't know where you're going.
He was away the last time.
Exactly.
So thank you.
When he goes again, we'll find out where you're going. Okay, inshallah.
Thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
That is Zishan and Nur Jahan Khan. They're joining us. They recently returned from Palestine and shared their adventures with us. On the other side of this, we get to know our station manager, Faisal MJ Suleiman.
From the mountains to the sea, beloved Palestine, the Lord above will set you free. Raining down from the air, land and sea, crimes against the people, what a human catastrophe, blood all around.
Looking for the perfect Umrah experience? Look no further. One Stop Travel and Tours brings you exclusive Umrah group packages with Qatar Airways departing from Johannesburg. Enjoy a seamless journey with flights, accommodations in Makkah and Medina, and visas all included. Experience spiritual peace with Ziyarat Tours guided in English. Departure dates start from December 25th, returning by January 14th. For a stress-free, soul-enriching Umrah journey, call One Stop Travel today at 031-271-2800. One Stop Travel and Tours. Your pilgrimage, our priority.
If you're craving authentic Turkish cuisine, visit Arzu Cafe, where every dish is a journey to Turkey. From sizzling kebabs to mouth-watering mezes and desserts, we offer rich flavors and a warm, welcoming atmosphere. Located at 4 Swapo Road in Durban North. Call 031-535-2535. Taste Turkey at Arzu Cafe. 100% halal. Your table awaits you.
Come get our butcher's best for less at Checkers Foods Cowie Park. Enjoy certified halal butchery products like Chabot Wurst Thick, $79.99 per kg. Extra lean beef mince, just $109.99 per kilo. Steakhouse Classic Beef Porterhouse Steak, just 13 Rand per 100 grams and 39 Rand per 300 grams. Deals valid from Monday, October 7th until Sunday, October 20th. Only at Checkers Foods Cowie Park. Now certified by the NIHT, the National Independent Halal Trust, across our butchery, bakery, and deli. Looking for the perfect Umrah experience? Look no further. One Stop Travel and Tours brings you exclusive Umrah group packages with Qatar Airways departing from Johannesburg. Enjoy a seamless journey with flights, accommodations in Makkah and Medina, and visas all included. Experience spiritual peace with Ziyarat Tours guided in English. Departure dates start from December 25th, returning by January 14th. For a stress-free, soul-enriching Umrah journey, call One Stop Travel today at 031-271-2800. One Stop Travel and Tours. Your pilgrimage, our priority.
As promised at last year's Durban Summer Cirque, part of our profits will go to making a real difference in our community. The Al Ansar Foundation proudly completed its first borehole for the community of Redcliffe. With water shortages affecting many, our mission is clear. Let's bring clean water to more areas in need. Join us in making an impact. Call Outreach on 031-208-1601 or visit alansar.org.za to help build more boreholes and transform lives.
Did you see the lunch deal happening at Nando's Saxony Westwood Mall?
Gee, I did. What's a great deal?
we should order.
Absolutely. I mean, Nando's are the OGs when it comes to flame grilled goodness.
Definitely the brand you can trust.
Nando's Saxony Westwood Mall is NIHT approved and brings you the freshest ingredients, memorable taste and flavors so enticing it'll make you come back for more. We deliver. Order one of our delicious platters. So place your order now on 031-266-2493. Nando's, fired up at the Saxony Westwood Mall. Looking for the perfect Umrah experience? Look no further. One Stop Travel and Tours brings you exclusive Umrah group packages with Qatar Airways departing from Johannesburg. Enjoy a seamless journey with flights, accommodations in Makkah and Medina, and visas all included. Experience spiritual peace with Ziyarat Tours guided in English. Departure dates start from December 25th, returning by January 14th. For a stress-free, soul-enriching Umrah journey, call One Stop Travel today at 031-271-2800. One Stop Travel and Tours. Your pilgrimage, our priority.
हम मोमिन मर्द मुजाहिद हैं तौहीद पे जीते मरते हैं हम जंगजू कौम के बेटे हैं हम मरने से कब डरते हैं मर्द मुजाहिद हैं तौहीद पे जीते मरते हैं हम जंगजू कौम के बेटे हैं हम मरने से कब डरते हैं अल-कुद्स हमारा है अल-कुद्स हमारा है अल-कुद्स हमारा है अल-कुद्स हमारा है मैदान में जिनकी सांपों से फासिल के दिल थर्राते थे वो मर्द मुजाहिद ऐसे थे तूफानों से टकराते थे दरिया से राह बनाते थे सहरा के सर चढ़ जाते थे हम ऐसी कौम के बेटे हैं जो मौत को भी गुर्राते थे मुजाहिद हैं तौहीद पे जीते मरते हैं हम जंगजू कौम के बेटे हैं हम मरने से कब डरते हैं मुजाहिद हैं तौहीद पे जीते मरते हैं हम जंगजू कौम के बेटे हम मरने से कब डरते हैं अल-कुद्स हमारा है अल-कुद्स हमारा है अल-कुद्स हमारा है अल-कुद्स हमारा
20 minutes away from 4 o'clock. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm Salma Kazi Wahab. Welcome into the social network. And this is a moment I've been waiting for the longest time. You hear him on Rise and Shine, and then you get in the evenings on a Friday night, Let's Chat. And then you hear him in between a little bit as our station manager. You heard the name, Faisal MJ Suleiman, well-known media personality, and currently our station manager here at Radio Al Ansar. So in honor of World Bosses Day, I've decided to bring him into the studio and get to know him a little bit better, because we still get asked today whenever we're out at any event, so who's managing the station now? Who's the station manager now? And then we've got to say, you know him, he's obviously a name that's well known, but let's get to know him a little bit better, and also what he loves most about us at Radio Al Ansar, and also we'll do a quick rapid fire round with him as well. So of course, with great respect, we welcome the one and only Mr. Faisal MJ Suleiman. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
You can stop tapping your fingers now. Just
relax. Okay. I was not used to being on air hosted by yourself. And then, when you come with all those fancy introductions, it gets me a bit concerned.
No, just relax. That's the amazing thing about you, is you generally, whenever you do come on air, you're always part of everything, part of the buzz, part of the excitement. But I wanted to do this today in a very different role and in a very different way, because at the end of the day, you have a lot on your shoulders right now, and I don't think people really know that or are aware of that. But let's talk, as the station manager right now, what is for you one of the best things about being in the position that you are in right now? Or what do you really find that is so what's the best part? That you are the station manager, but what is the most fulfilling part, to say, of that role?
Well, look, it's highly stimulating. You've got to make sure that your content is correct. You've got to make sure that the logistics are in place. You've got to in fact, it's an all-encompassing position, because everything to do with radio falls under your jurisdiction.
True.
So it becomes, the responsibility is very high. And then every time there's a problem, you got to answer for it, whether you're aware of it or you're not aware of it. But you asked me what I find fulfilling. I find this entire role fulfilling. I love the
Alhamdulillah.
interaction with the presenters. I love the interaction with the listeners when there's issues. I love the interaction with the technicians. It's a wonderful feeling. And then it's the first time you feel like a jack of all trades.
Right.
Of course, in the brackets, say master of none.
But you got to put all those roles.
I mean, you got to check what's happening in sales. You got to check what's happening with the technicians. You got to check what's happening with the pre-recordings. You got to check what's happening with the programming. You got to check with content management across the board. Now, yes, I'm very fortunate and I'm thankful to the board that they have provided sales managers, content managers, social media managers,
the heads of the
different
departments.
departments.
Yeah.
They provided that.
Yes.
So it makes my role easier. But
Sure.
I've still got to oversee. Because if something goes wrong, the buck stops by me.
It still comes to
Yeah.
you. Mm.
But it is a huge, this position comes with lots of responsibility. While it might seem, fame, etc., no such thing. There's lots of responsibilities, lots to take care of. But then I look at everything with a positive mind.
You do.
And I don't like it when you said World Bosses Day, because I don't think I ever fitted that position. I can't be that boss type of character.
No,
So
your nature is just different,
so
of course.
what I like the interaction.
Yes.
You talk to everybody, people talk to you,
Alhamdulillah.
and it's fun, absolute fun.
It is. And Radio Al Ansar, we always say, is one of the most exciting places to work in. There's always something happening. When you come out of Muharram, then it's something else. There's Rabi al-Awwal, you come out of that, there's something else. If it's not Ramadan, then it's Eid. It never ends. There's always some sort of something happening.
And
At
then-
the moment, currently, where is your head? What is happening right now that's an exciting campaign or project or something that's keeping you occupied right now?
Right now, my mind
Is on?
is in the Peter Marisburg studio.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Yes, because we are the studio has been running for the last 5 or 6 or 7 years,
Mm-hmm.
and we now want to sort of up it, if I can put it that way.
The Peter Maritzburg
So
studio.
we've just
Okay.
done some renovations there. We're introducing some new programs there, some activity there, etc. So my mind is there right now, but at the same time, I'm being bombarded. Have the schedules for the Ramadan been sorted? See, but Ramadan
The
is next year.
Ramadan.
Ramadan's next year.
Yeah.
Hold on. Ramadan's not next year. Just in March or something. It's
March.
a couple of months ago. Wait. In between, we've got the souk to worry about. Just before I walked in here, our lady in charge of programming walked in to say to me, "What's happening at the souk for our programs and our entertainment kind of side of it?" I said, "Well, it's like in December." She said, "Faisal, we're in October right now,
Yes.
and almost the second half of October, so we only
Yeah.
got November. So there's lots of happening. We're also planning an open day in Peter Maritzburg, with some excitement,
Live events,
live events,
broadcasts,
etc.
yeah.
That's also on the mind.
Wow.
So there's lots happening. And then you have your normal programming. I mean, every day there's something new that's happening. In the
So it would
programs.
be in no particular order. Peter Maritzburg live broadcast. We got Souk, and then we got a countdown to Ramadan
Countdown
already.
to Ramadan, and then we got countdown
Subhanallah.
to Hajj.
Wow. It just never ends here.
No,
Radio-
it's exciting.
No,
It's very
definitely. It
exciting.
definitely is.
Yeah.
If you had to retrospect and think of your own time that you've been here with Radio Al Ansar, what would you say have been some of the biggest, most memorable experiences, or maybe a milestone moment or a personal achievement or something that you really just think about and think, wow, that's been amazing?
You mean after I was appointed station manager or
After
general?
or before? Anything.
No. I loved every aspect of
Yeah.
radio. I loved every aspect of radio. We used to have fun in the good old days when you should do nighttime together, Mount Vareva, in the 30-day in the events licenses.
Right.
And there was a time when I was doing almost every show. I mean, a variety of shows.
Mm-hmm.
So there hasn't. I mean, I can't say that this is the milestone. That's a milestone. Alhamdulillah, in the radio career, there's lots of milestones.
There
I can talk
is.
of, lots of
Every
it.
day something or the other happens.
But I can even talk of what happened in the past, which is excellent. But I think I love every day's got a challenge. In fact, every show's got a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I've just got to. You see what happens is that we have tens of thousands of listeners.
Mm.
You can't satisfy everybody.
No.
And in every program, there will be something that somebody doesn't like. And many of them do complain, and one has to deal with it. Now, I take every complaint seriously. I mean, many times I'm told, but look, Faisal, you've got 5,000 people listening to this show. 2 have complained. That means 4,998 enjoyed it. There are no issues. But I take those 2 seriously.
You have to still listen to those two.
I could listen to it. I got
Yeah.
to deal with it. And many times there is merit in those complaints.
True.
And now this is actually a very huge balancing act, real balancing act. I mean, we want to attract the youth. We want to diversify our audience. Because remember, we've got a lot of competition on radio, and who listens to a radio show? I mean, people got everything's on their phone. They got they've got the visuals, and social media is has so many different aspects as well. So unless you're sitting in your car and you're driving home or something, you generally don't listen to radio. So we've got huge competition. We've got to, one, maintain our existing audience, and secondly, we've got to extend the listenership to the youth. And it creates a huge problem because what sort of nasheeds are you going to play for the youth? Today, I mean, you are the nasheed queen of Radio Al Ansar. I mean, all of the top nasheeds
what they're listening to.
I mean, what everyone's listening to has these percussions and beatboxing, etc. And there's all types of different views on that. Now, the minute you play just one nasheed, it attracts the youth, but then it attracts the complaints as well.
True.
So you've got to work that fine balance.
So it's a juggling act.
It's a juggling act, but an enjoyable juggling act.
No, absolutely. How would you define, if you had to say, generally speaking now, in any workplace, from your position of seniority, to describe if somebody were to be successful in a work environment? How would you define that success for them? Like, what would they need to be mindful of? How should they be as an employee in the workplace to actually succeed or grow?
Well, first and foremost, do what you've undertaken to do.
Right.
You must have very good interpersonal relations. I think that is absolutely vital. Don't be petty.
Okay.
Have a positive approach. You're not there to compete with anybody. You're there to do a piece of work. You do it properly. You'll be. It will be acknowledged. You'll be remunerated accordingly, etc. The minute you start getting petty and start, looking around for problems, being negative, then it becomes very toxic, the environment, and it's not what
it ruins your own experience.
It ruins everything.
Yeah.
So have a positive approach, and that's it.
Fantastic. So for many people that perhaps would want to join, we meet people all the time that are maybe thinking of joining Radio Al Ansar, even if it's for your everyday staff that are employed here, or maybe it's a presenter, maybe it's technical. You have a number of people now that as this year comes to a close that are maybe wanting to do something for the gap year, and maybe they'll want to join Radio Al Ansar. What do they need to keep in mind, or what would you maybe warn somebody, if warn is the right word, before joining Radio Al Ansar? What would you advise a person that wants to join Radio Al Ansar? What is it like?
You come here with a positive attitude.
Right.
You come here and you decide what you want to do. You must obviously be in a position to accommodate you.
Right.
And yes, and you do it because you want to do it. And enjoy what you're doing. That's most important. If you enjoy what you're doing, then you'll give off your best. And I think that's absolutely vital. As you know, I have an open door policy. I don't practice any formalities or anything of that sort, except that just to ensure that if you want to see me, you see me. I ask you that you just talk to Zina, who's my secretary, my PA, that, just to check my availability. That's the only thing I ask for, because I would hate you coming all over to see me and I'm not here.
No, true,
So that's the
definitely.
only thing
Just go through protocol.
Just for purposes, I say appointment, not to show that I'm somebody, but just to ensure that I'm here when you want to see me. And I have this open door policy. You come in, you talk to me, I talk to you. I have a very informal approach to things. I'm very lighthearted too.
Yes.
Yeah. So no, just to keep
you have to also for your mental sanity.
Absolutely.
You have to keep yourself going. You have to keep yourself positive. That's how we need to roll in these days. Speaking of which, now I'm sure there has been hard moments, like you mentioned, challenging moments, obstacles, criticism, where you feel like you're close to reaching breaking point.
Yes.
You've had moments where you feel, oh no, this is not for me. I'm done. I need to leave. And anybody has that in any work environment.
And they're very often.
Yeah. What would be your tools for coping with that?
Well, as I say, is adopt a positive approach.
Right.
Look at everything with the purpose of reconciliation.
Okay.
So if I've got a problem with you, for example, as a presenter,
right,
I'll approach you and tell you, look, Salma, I've got a problem.
Okay.
But I won't come here barging and saying, Salma, what you were supposed to have, what you've done was not correct, etc., etc. Let's discuss it, because there must be a reason why you did what you did.
Yeah.
It might just be a slip. It might just, we don't know. Let's discuss it.
The consideration.
And I find that works well. The minute you become confrontational, then there's a lot of stress and a lot of problems. And also what happens is that when you keep it within yourself as well, then it's not healthy. So I adopt that approach and it seems to work. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So here's a few tricky questions now, right? So what does somebody have to do, or what would somebody do that would tip you over the edge? Like what for you is a deal breaker?
No. is you know the ethos of the station.
Right.
You know what's expected. And
Okay.
you can break it. You know you're not supposed to play music, for example. And you
Okay.
can play nasheed with music.
Right.
You know you're not supposed to be talking or speaking on certain subjects.
Okay.
You go and you dive into it. You know something is controversial and it's not acceptable, and you can do it. That obviously gets you irritated, because I give everybody a free hand, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
I mean, I can be very difficult. I want the script for every show to be signed off by me before you go ahead. I mean, bring it to me, and I must okay it. And you can't talk to this guest, etc. I don't do that.
Yeah.
I give you guys a free hand. But then we're not supposed to be speaking to certain people.
The responsibilities on you.
Yeah. Just adopt a responsible approach.
100%. Now, what would you wish that people perhaps knew about you? Maybe a misconception about you that you wish people knew this is what you can do, or this is what you are like. What would you wish people knew about you that they maybe don't know?
I don't know.
You can't think of anything yet?
I can't think of anything. But I mean, I never thought of myself.
Maybe you've got a really good talent or a skill that people don't know about.
I don't know.
No?
I
Okay.
don't know.
So you can think about that one and think if you have an answer for that.
I do have an answer, but I'm not going to give it to you.
Oh, see now.
No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
A listener says, Assalamu alaikum. Congratulations. The radio station is a top station. Highly professional people, doctors, lawyers. It's everything in one. That's a line. It's everything in one. I love that. That's so fantastic. And it's good to hear feedback like that. Sister Sarah Bibi says, Assalamu alaikum, Salma and Faisal Bhai. Mashallah, to hear this, the top Al Ansar manager, alhamdulillah. She's always sends through messages. He's from the CBD area and he controls the station very well and very kind to the presenters, of course. That's why I wanted him in a studio today, obviously, to talk to him a little bit. So let's get to know him a little bit better. This is a rapid fire that we got planned. We're going to go very quickly before the news. So we've got just under 4 minutes to go. So if you could have one nasheed playing on radio all day, what nasheed would it be? Or any singer, any nasheed artist?
I know the nasheed I like is it's just not coming to me.
Is it one of Mahir Zain ones?
No.
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 Umar Isa, Muad.
I think it's Umar Isa one.
Okay, so we'll find Umar Isa for you next time, right? If you're sitting alone in a car, what are you likely thinking about?
Difficult stuff. There's so much on my mind.
Money.
No. Far from. There's so much on my mind. It's what's going through my mind is always what's happening that day.
On radio? Or
Across
just in personal?
Yeah, in my personal life, in radio, or something I'm supposed to be doing.
Okay. If you could have any superhero power, what would you want to have? Like invisibility, to hear through the walls, hear what people are thinking. Would you want to be able to fly? Would you want to be able to just put your hand like that and that person must just fall down? What would you? What superpower would you want to have?
I never thought of having any superpowers.
Not one?
No, just something like we just click on your program, you schedule sort of for the day.
Oh, fantastic! That sounds perfect. I think if you were to be opening your fridge when you get home, what's the first thing you're likely to grab?
Find a fruit.
Fruit. What's your favorite fruit?
I love my nachos.
Nachos. Oh, lovely. You sent your last WhatsApp message came from who?
My wife.
Alhamdulillah. Safe answer. Safe answer.
Safest, absolutely safest.
Your favorite subject at school?
Economics.
Oh, mashallah. Can you speak any other language than English?
Vernacular. I can speak about Urdu.
Right.
But of course, I haven't practiced it for the last, 30 years or so.
Not Gujarati or
no,
Memon.
I can understand Gujarati. I can understand and speak Memon. But what used to happen is I used to speak Memon to my mother.
Okay.
And she passed away, I think, 25 or 24 years ago. So there was no one else to speak Memon to. So you sort of, you're not that confident. I lived in Pakistan for 4 years, so my Urdu was very good. But again, you don't practice.
Was that for work that you lived there? Or?
Yes, I was working there.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. We didn't know that. You see, we learn something new every day.
I was there for 4 years. I worked there and I studied from there as well through UNISA.
Oh, mashallah.
Yeah. And so I knew Urdu very well at the time. And now what happens if I speak to somebody for 24 hours, I'll pick it up again. But because I haven't spoken it for
need to speak to someone
you need a bit of practice. Yeah.
Now, this was a cool question that we asked around to somebody else, even not. If you could change your name, if you could picture yourself with another name, what name would you choose?
I love Faisal.
Oh, you love
I've never given myself. In fact, I just adopted my dad's initials in my names. Because,
okay.
There's 4 Faisal Suleimans around, and I was always getting
confused. There is a lot of Faisal Suleimans.
Yes. There's always a confusion. That's why I had to bring the MJ.
Faisal MJ.
I had to bring it's Muhammad Jakaria, my dad's name.
Right.
I had to bring that MJ factor into it just for the distinction. Because what used to happen, the other Faisals were doing a wonderful piece of work, and I was getting the acknowledgement for it. And all the harm I was causing, they were paying for it. So I said, to be fair to everybody, just...
Last 3 questions. If you had the opportunity to study something now or learn something new, in what field or industry, or what would you want to do?
I think at my age at the moment, I think Islam would be the only option for me.
If you could do anything, you would want to study deen, religion.
I do have a law degree.
Alhamdulillah.
I did practice as an attorney for almost 25 years.
No, that we know.
But what I'm saying is that, but if I had to study something, it would be more
something Islamically inclined.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Okay. I hope you can answer this one because I'm hoping you have an answer. If you were stranded on an island, you were dropped on an island alone, who from Radio Al Ansar would you take with you that could help you survive? Any of your staff members, anybody?
That's a very dangerous
If you had to pick, let's say 2 or 3 staff members that you know, okay, they are likely to build a boat or they are likely to do something. Who's going to help you get off that island?
I'll have to find who can. No, I'll have to find who can prepare me some chows.
Who's going to cook for you?
Who's going to cook for me from whatever's available there? These are difficult questions you're asking me.
And lastly, if you had to describe the radio team as a movie genre, what would you describe it as? Comedy, drama, thriller, horror, ZTV drama, mystery? What would you classify it as?
You want to put me under the bus?
No, that's just for fun. What's a typical day at radio? Is it how dramatic is it?
I think it's drama.
Drama, just drama.
It's dramatic.
Yeah, it's a drama series.
It's an enjoyable drama.
Right.
Yeah, it's an enjoyable drama.
Fantastic.
So,
Brother Faisal Suleiman, thank you so much for speaking to us today. It's exactly 4 o'clock. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful afternoon and evening. Assalamu alaikum. That's Brother Faisal MJ Suleiman there. So a listener says comedy. Wonderful.
I was about to say comedy of errors.
Comedy?
Of errors.
Comedy of errors. It's a learning experience for sure. But thank you so much, the listeners, for responding to that as well. We'll break for news. And on the other side of this, we catch up with Africa for Palestine about that road name change. Will it change from Santon Drive to Leila Khalid Drive? We talk about that straight after this.
Are you tired of working from home? The Al Ansar Delhi is excited to introduce its new co-working space, perfect for remote workers to meet and network. Enjoy a productive work environment, high-speed Wi-Fi, and delicious food and drinks at your fingertips. Al Ansar Delhi co-working space, where work meets flavor.
Radio Al Ansar. They convinced the world to believe that terrorists look like beards and thobes. Now, as the facade cracks, one martyr after another, the world sees through the broken windows and now knows the true face of terrorism. It wears suits and ties and smiles behind lies.
Looking for an Android POS system that boosts efficiency and integrates effortlessly with your business systems? At SMG Technical Services, we offer mobile solutions tailored for retail, restaurants, and service industries. Our system allows you to process transactions and manage sales inventory in real time on Android devices. Enjoy benefits like flexibility, user-friendliness, cost-effectiveness, multiple payment options, and enhanced customer experiences. For more information, contact us at 084 945 9349.
Radio Al Ansar.
An informative Islamic global perspective. This is Al Ansar News.
Making news this hour, 16th of October, the news from Durban, 90.4 FM, Peter Maritzburg, 105.6 FM. President Ramaphosa and Premier Tamin Tuli are to discuss KwaZulu-Natal service delivery. America Monina. President Cyril Ramaphosa and KwaZulu-Natal Premier Tamin Tuli will, in November, discuss measures to improve service delivery in the province. Presidency spokesperson Vincent Magwenya says Ntuli will present the president with a 5-year program that aligns with the priorities of the government of national unity. The meeting will be followed by a presidential umbizo in eThekwini. Magwenya says that President Ramaphosa will, on the 7th of November 2024, meet with the Premier Ntuli and members of the provincial government executive in Durban. The meeting will culminate with a DDM oversight visit to eThekwini Metropolitan Municipality. I will also include a presidential imbizo on the 8th of November 2024. The visit will also provide an opportunity to assess progress on the work of the Presidential eThekwini Working Group established earlier this year. More news: the Bergville man arrested for stabbing 5 of his relatives dead has been remanded in custody to allow for his legal aid application. Mhlamuli Mondli Koza made a brief appearance at the Bergville Magistrate Court, facing 5 counts of murder and 2 of attempted murder. Residents and political parties held a demonstration outside the courthouse denouncing crime and calling for the accused not to be granted bail. Koza told the court he wants to apply for bail and does not have any criminal record. Family member of the deceased wants bail denied.
This is very sad. I'm here to cry and say no bail for that man. It's not it's not only them they cry. Even all the others, the neighbors, they are crying about him. Only they cannot step up because the mother is always to cover him.
Former public protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane has quit the EFF. She has also resigned as member of parliament. In a letter to the party, she says she will be leaving politics to spend more time with her family. Mkhwebane joined the EFF last year after she was impeached by parliament. A decision to leave politics comes days after the High Court in Pretoria ruled that she is not entitled to a 10 million rand gratuity for the time she served as public protector. Speaking about her decision, Mkhwebane says she has received offers from various political parties. In other news, former Finance Minister Tito Mboweni will be honored with a special official funeral on Saturday at his hometown in Zenin, Limpopo. ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula led the party's delegation to pay respect at Mboweni's home in Killarney, Johannesburg. He had this to say.
To say to them, we share with them the grief, and we extend our condolences on behalf of the African National Congress. The family will be going to Limpopo. As you all know, that the funeral will be on Saturday, and it has been declared, I think, a state funeral, I don't know which category, by the president in Zanin, in Limpopo. We are discussing with the family our plans as the ANC to have a memorial service to celebrate the life of Comrade Tito, and that we intend to do it maybe after the funeral, so that we get the right speakers and also proper planning for the memorial service.
International story: Iran's flag carrier Iran Air has cancelled all its flights to European destinations a day after the European Union announced sanctions against the airline, claiming it has been involved in Iran's alleged supply of drones and missiles to Russia. Spokesperson of the Civil Aviation Organization of Iran said that Iran Air had cancelled flights to Europe to prevent any inconveniences that could be caused for passengers by EU sanctions, including potential bans on the landing of Iran airplanes at European airports. Jafar Yazelu described the sanctions, which also targeted Iran's Mahan Air and Saar Airlines, as a violation of regulations and treaties governing international aviation. Yazelu says that Iran's civil aviation authorities were cooperating with the Iranian Foreign Ministry and airlines in the country to adopt measures to facilitate passenger travels from Iran to European Union destinations. Now, based on information available on its website, Iran Air has been flying to 7 destinations in the EU countries, namely Rome, Milan, Vienna, Hamburg, Cologne, Frankfurt, and Paris. It is not clear whether the cancellations would also affect Iran's irregular flights between Tehran and London. That's according to international media. Your weather, 21 degrees. A quick reminder of our top story. President Ramaphosa and KwaZulu-Natal Premier Tammy Ntuli will sometime in November discuss measures to improve service delivery in the province. That's the news.
Radio Al-Ansar, 24/7, 365.
اللهم احفظ المسجد الأقصى من اليهود الحاقدين اللهم أعد المسجد الأقصى إلى رحاب المسلمين اللهم وطهر المسجد الأقصى من اليهود الغاصبين اللهم عليك بهم فإنهم لا يعجزونك يا قوي يا متين اللهم منزل الكتاب مجري السحاب هازم الأحزاب سريع الحساب اهزم اليهود وزلزلهم يا قوي يا عزيز.
You've played it previously.
Ladies and gentlemen, pop up the volume.
The Breakfast Josh brings.
Danger, danger. Question's too hard. Remember that time when you said MI5?
Yeah.
And you were correct. And then you changed your answer to something that sounds like this.
You, Nishal, are in the wrong business. You should be a math.
But Musrad, I told you twice that you were correct. Don't change your answer while we were talking, and you still changed it.
Okay, perfect. Let's get to the second question.
And your final question for almost 2,000 rand worth of goodies from
Sophie, Missy, Ramsey, Sneezy, Happy, and Dashford.
Congratulations.
It's back on the Breakfast Rush.
Looking for the perfect Umrah experience? Look no further. One Stop Travel and Tours brings you exclusive Umrah group packages with Qatar Airways departing from Johannesburg. Enjoy a seamless journey with flights, accommodations in Makkah and Medina, and visas all included. Experience spiritual peace with Ziyarat Tours guided in English. Departure dates start from December 25th, returning by January 14th. For a stress-free, soul-enriching Umrah journey, call One Stop Travel today at 031-271-2800. One Stop Travel and Tours. Your pilgrimage, our priority.
Ya Nabi Allah, Ya Habib Allah, महबूब परवरदिगार है मोहम्मद रसूल अल्लाह। वो जो न थे तो कुछ न था, वो जो न हो तो कुछ न हो, जान है वो जहान की, जान है तो जहान है। या नबी अल्लाह, या हबीब अल्लाह, दो जहां के ताजदार है मोहम्मद रसूलुल्लाह। या नबी अल्लाह, या हबीब अल्लाह, महबूब परवरदिगार है मोहम्मद रसूलुल्लाह। आपकी हर अदा पे है आलम फिदा, बलगल उला भी कमाले ही, ना हो खुदा आप ना हो खुदा से जुदा, कशफ दो जो भी जमाले ही, हर वक्त में याद में तेरी हसनत जमीआ खिसाले ही, हर पल ज़बां से ये विर्द करूं, सल्लु अलैहि व अलैहि। दिल में इश्क मोहम्मद नहीं है अगर, कलमा सुनने सुनाने से क्या फायदा, कल्ब में ज़ौक़ तैबा नहीं है अगर, मक्के में आने जाने से क्या फायदा। अर्श पे ताज़ा छेड़छाड़, फर्श पे तूफान धूमधाम, कान जिधर लगाइए तेरी ही दास्तान है। या Nabi Allah, Ya Habib Allah, दो जहां के ताजदार है मोहम्मद रसूल अल्लाह। आपका गम उम्मत में रोना सारी उम्मत की किस्मत को खोल गया। आप ही की जुबान से अल्लाह दीने हक सारे आलम में बोल गया। जिक्र उम्मत मुलाकात रब में भी था, मेरी उम्मत बस उम्मत ही उम्मत कहा। इस मुहब्बत का हक ना अदा कर सके, सबकी आंतों ने हम कुछ भी ना कर सके। खुश्क सजदे की खूब माथा घिसा और पेशानी पे दागे सजदा पढ़ा। कल्ब दागे मोहब्बत से खाली रहा, ऐसे माथा घिसाने से क्या फायदा। अल्लाह रब्बु मुहम्मदिन सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम, नहनु इबादु मुहम्मदिन सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम। या नबी अल्लाह, या हबीब अल्लाह, दो जहां।
It's 4:15. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Salma Kazi Wahab with you for the next 15 minutes, inshallah, before the afternoon jam takes over. Sitting in for Zahir Basa. He returns next week to the social network, inshallah. We're honored to be welcoming Brother Ali Kumape from Africa for Palestine to the social network for this very, very important conversation that we are about to have, because this has to be spoken about. Created a buzz on social media, and everyone was all over the place yesterday, sending out text messages and forwarding those messages that you need to be voting, go onto those polls. But let's get the information. What does he think of that name change? Is it likely to happen? We welcome Brother Ali Kumape to the program. Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon.
Walaikum salam, and thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to speak to you. More than 70,000 South Africans, Africa for Palestine says, from all walks of life have submitted their letters in support of the name change to Leila Khalid Drive. To imagine taking Santon Drive, and you guys say it's a road, the richest square mile on the African continent, also the road on which the US consulate is located, and change it to Leila Khalid Drive. How did that idea come about, and how was it received initially?
The proposal to change Santon Drive to Leila Khalid Drive began in 2018 from the ANC and EFF, Al Jamaa, and PA, I think, in the city of Johannesburg. They brought the motion to the floor. Simultaneously, they brought the motion to change William Nicol Drive to Winnie Mandela Drive, and those two proposed name changes were passed in the city council. Our understanding is that initially the ANC wanted to rename the street to Palestine Street, and then they also considered, no, let's limit Ramallah Street, after the city of Ramallah in the West Bank that the Joburg municipality has a relationship with. But they then decided, no, let's go a little bit vertical. Let's go Leila Khalid, not only to show our support for the Palestinians in their struggle against apartheid, but to show that we support also their armed struggle. We support their struggle in any means necessary against the oppressive regime of Israel. That's Leila Khalid came about. It was not our proposal. It was the ANC's proposal that was passed in the municipality council.
Now, I can only imagine the discussion this would have sparked when this went viral, or when this was put out onto social media for the public to get involved, and people questioning, imagine a street in the heart of Santon out of all places. It must have created mixed responses from the public. What was some of the public opinion that was seen on social media?
Look, we've got overwhelming support for this. And to be quite honest, most South Africans don't know Leila Khalid. Most South Africans don't know about her history, what she has done. And I think this is a moment when people get to know of our shared history, you know. In the future, people will look at the street and say, who's Leila Khalid? And get to know about Palestine, those who were not aware. But people know about Palestine. And then when the issue came out that the city is in the process of implementing, so this is not a proposal anymore. It's no longer at a proposal stage, it's at an implementing stage. And the public participation process is just part of it. It's just part of the administrative process of it. So when it came out, people said, but who's Leila Khalid? Immediately when those who know about it said, the Palestinian freedom fighter, they said, great, wonderful, we love it, do it. Because majority of South Africans support Palestine. If you look at the recent election polls, over 2/3 of the electorate voted for political parties that support Palestine. It goes to show that South Africans, in their majority, support Palestine. So the most funny thing about South Africans, it's funny, but it's also so profound, is that others can't show you where Palestine is on the map. And to them, it doesn't matter. What matters is that there's oppressed people somewhere in the world. They need our help. They need our support. And then we're going to give it to them. This is what makes us South Africans. The spirit of Ubuntu, the spirit of caring for another person without expecting anything in return. That is the South Africa we live in. That is the South Africa we love.
Definitely is. What would you say to people now? And I love that you brought up Ubuntu. Just this week, we're busy with school projects, and you find children that are now 7, 8 years old growing up in a world where, like you said, also where they don't know apartheid. They don't know what's going on, where's Palestine, and that they're only learning about now. They're going to understand it the way we present it to them. So they're going to grow up seeing names like Leila Khalid Drive, for example. They're not going to know any differently. And it's a way of educating and informing the public about that. But what would you say what would you say to people who say, and this is the logic or the understanding, that South Africa has enough problems, or South Africa should focus on itself, its own priorities, maybe should invest the name changes and the efforts going into rather focusing on its own infrastructure, on other things that need to perhaps be changed, instead of changing something as iconic as the name of a Sandton Drive? Why not any other road? What would you say to them?
Look, I can't speak for the city of Johannesburg. If the street was named in Sandton, it was Leila Khalid Drive, great. If it was named in Soweto, great. If it was named in Midrand, great. Like, to us, is really the symbolism is important.
Yes.
They are the ones who decided we want to change this particular street, and we don't have a problem with it. So I can't speak for the city. I can't tell you why they chose Sandton in particular. I cannot tell you. But what I know is that they can choose anywhere. But to those who say that the money could have used for something else, I think they have a simplistic view of governance. For instance, there are people who think that simply because we had problems of electricity, the government must do everything it's doing and then focus on electricity. All the money that the government has must go to electricity. Tomorrow we have a struggle with water. Then the government must stop everything, must stop traffic lights, must then focus. It does not work like that. Government has different responsibilities. And for instance, the name change has a budget. The department that is responsible for implementing this has a budget that this is what you must do. And that is part of service delivery. Service delivery is the government doing what it's supposed to do with the money it is given. In fact, we argue that if Johannesburg does not transform the city an international tourist destination, if they do not transform this city to show our diversity and our history, that is bad service delivery. Then they are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So name changes of historical sites, important sites, streets, and so on, it's service delivery. It's an integral part of what the government is supposed to do. So it's not wasting money. It's not we have better things to do. It's none of that. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do with the money they're supposed to do it with.
Absolutely. As South Africans, like you mentioned, it's all encompassing, and that is our role. It isn't just beautifully explained. Thank you so much for that fantastic explanation. Let's look at the work of Africa for Palestine now in general. Also, what are some of the common issues that are coming up that you're having to put the spotlight on while we await now the name change? Like you say, it's in the implementation phase. After those polls have now been done and been received and everyone's votes been collected, what happens now over the next few weeks?
The city would have a process. Now, the city is going to take all the public submissions, audit them, and make a recommendation to the city council. But just the interesting fact is they were telling us, officials of the city of Johannesburg, that they've never seen this before. They've never seen such volume of people votes supporting a particular district. It's just they're amazed, they're perplexed. And this is the overwhelming support that South Africans have for Palestine. So the city is going to audit. They have their own process. I think it's going to take a couple of weeks or months, and then they want to take it to council to adopt that recommendation and then rename the street. In the meantime, Africa for Palestine, alongside many organizations, continue to share the plight of Palestinians, especially Palestinians in Gaza who are being killed every day. We just saw images the past few days of Palestinians burning alive in tents, burning to death from Israeli bombs. That is the message we are still portraying in South Africa. We are encouraging our government. We're no longer putting pressure on our government. We're encouraging our government to collect as much evidence as possible as it presents evidence at the International Court of Justice to prove Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. So the protests are still continuing in our local communities. There are communities that have protests and there are traffic lights every Friday, others every Saturday. The protests are continuing. The movie screenings are continuing. Campaigns are continuing to raise awareness as to what is happening to Palestinians currently in Gaza.
Absolutely. And finally, before you leave me, I see that it's coming up on my feed as well about the current dilemma, not so much a dilemma, but what people are currently pushing for at the moment. If you could just briefly shed some light on that, is what is going on as far as FIFA is concerned and suspending Israel from these competitions. Is Africa for Palestine playing any role there?
We are part of the Red Card Israel campaign. It's a global campaign that wants to kick Israel out of FIFA. I can confidently say that there is work being done by the South African government in the background. It's an extremely bureaucratic process, although FIFA is hypocritical because they banned Russia minutes after it went into Ukraine. But with this one, there's particular procedures, there's particular things that the government and bodies need to do. So SAFA, alongside the South African government, are proceeding into FIFA with the Palestine Football Association as well to kick Israel out. So those processes are continuing, albeit in the background. But the Red Card Israel campaign is in the forefront. We are calling for Israel to be expelled from FIFA.
Fantastic. Brother Ali Kamape, thank you so much for speaking to us. It's been very enlightening, and we look forward to speaking to you again soon. We'll be following our social media very closely for details on that name change, of that road name change. We look forward to it, inshallah, and all the best for whatever projects or initiatives you have upcoming in the future weeks, inshallah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. Assalamu alaikum. Brother Ali Kamape there joining us. He's Africa for Palestine. You're seeing pictures on social media as well with people talking and showing the huge amounts of votes that had come through, letters in support of that name change. Is so important and so vital, they say, in our history, South African history, to have the road name changed to the Leila Khalid Drive. She was a young face and force of the Palestinian resistance in the 60s and 70s. And is still very much active today. I think she is in her 80s. So I think that is definitely something that should be spoken about and paying attention to that as well. Not to mention the 2024 examinations. That's around the corner. That bell is literally ringing with all those matriculants of 2024 going ahead at some of the schools, the traditions there to ring the bell before they leave school or wrapping up their school year. So it's going to be an exciting few days before they commence with their final finals by Monday, inshallah. On Friday, we have a very exciting show planned for you, a very special one at that, where it's going to include none other than Radio Al Ansar's very own School Matters host, Sumaya Khan. We're also going to welcome to studio brother Idris Khamisa, who is no stranger to Radio Al Ansar or to the school fraternity, to students, to parents alike. And as Muhammad Ayaz Karim will also join in on Friday as well. We're going to have a nice group chat about what does it take to get your grade 12 student ready for their finals. How do we support them mentally, the stress, the routine? What do you cook for them? Should they be sleeping at 1 o'clock or 8 o'clock? I don't know. So we're going to discuss that and really just pull that apart, what it's like to prepare ourselves. And I say ourselves because it's not just the person doing matric. It's also the parents to be supportive. It's the extended family to be supportive, the school structure itself to prepare for final exams that start next week, inshallah. It's been awesome being in your company. I shall speak to you tomorrow just after 3 o'clock. Have a wonderful afternoon. I leave you in the capable hands of the Afternoon Jam team. That'll be with you from 4:30 all the way till 6 o'clock. Talk to you tomorrow then. From me, Salma. Assalamu alaikum.
The views and opinions expressed by the guest and presenters of Radio Al Ansar are not necessarily the views and opinions of Radio Al Ansar and the Al Ansar Foundation.
This adhan is sponsored for the Isale Sawab of Marhum Muhammad Farooq Latib and all Marhumeen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them the highest abode in Jannah. Ameen.
أعزائي المستمعين، حان الآن موعد أذان العصر لمدينة دربن وما حولها. الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح